In the context of Fallout New Vegas, the Courier is the player character, and as such has the ability to influence the story in whichever direction that they may desire to do so. They can cure schizophrenia in the Naikin, have relations with a sex robot, fix a robo-dog for an Elvis impersonator, and completely tip the odds of victory to whichever faction that they choose to side with. No canonical victor has been announced in the following games, and this is due to the fact that the victor is entirely dependent on who the Courier, as we the player, choose to back. But what if the Courier never made it past the opening credits? How would the story play out if the Courier never woke from their grave to seek revenge? Who would be the victor in this outcome? This video will concern itself with the unaffected events and situations of New Vegas that would lead to its overall victor, who in my opinion would be Caesar's Legion. But hey, wait a minute. Caesar's Legion are those cosplaying Roman slavers who use spears and machetes. How would they be able to defeat the NCR, the largest, most advanced army in the known world? How would they be able to stand against the savior of Vegas, Robert House, and his army of Securitrons? Well, hypothetical YouTube commenter, this is your lucky day, because I'm about to dedicate this whole video to the reason why Caesar's Legion would win if the Courier never intervened in the Mojave. In this hypothetical story, Benny has shot and killed the Courier, and then hightailed his way back to New Vegas with the platinum chip in hand. House is aware of this betrayal, having had Victor dig up the Courier, but finding them dead. Without a protege to replace Benny, House is unable to respond fully to the threat that Benny poses.
Frontal assaults on casinos, not good for business. In any case, Benny would see it coming, and all he'd have to do is hold the chip up and point a pistol at it. Our foremost advantage is that Benny doesn't know that I know he has the chip. Let's not squander it.
The NCR continues to hold the line of the Mojave, bleeding caps, supplies, and blood for an ungrateful nation state, leaving Kaiser biding his time on the eastern side of the Colorado River. If we expect events to unfold as per normal, Benny would have used a stealth boy to infiltrate his way into the Legion fort, dressed in legionary garb but with a gelled haircut that gave the game away. Kaiser would have captured and interrogated him, now possessing the platinum chip. House's technologies therefore would never be activated, and that crazy light show over the fort that causes the canon death of Kaiser in all non-Legion playthroughs would not occur. This could end up with a continued stalemate, as neither House, the NCR, nor Kaiser wish to make the first move, lest the other attack while their back is turned. Kaiser, however, does have a few aces up his sleeve. For starters, without Courier Intervention, the NCR have little to no allies in the Mojave. Yes, they've aligned with House, they've even established an embassy on the Strip. However, both House and the NCR know that this alliance is not born out of goodwill. It is merely the threat of the Legion that stops the Republic from forcibly annexing, and therefore going to war with New Vegas. Their core ally in the region considers them to be the greater threat to their power, with House making plans to undermine their efforts to lay claim to the Mojave, and the NCR seeking to assassinate House. Caesar's Legion at the beginning of the game have already established alliances with both the Great Khans, a raider gang, and the Amantas, one of the Strip's 3 families. The former will support and fight alongside the Legion at the Battle of Hoover Dam in revenge for the NCR massacre at Bitter Springs. The latter simultaneously launch a coup on the Strip, unleashing nerve gas and assault weapons on their former allies, but are confirmed in all endings as being overwhelmed by the Securitrons, Chairman, and White Glove Society. The Legion are also loosely affiliated with the violent drug-addled gang, the Fiends, who were fed information by Legion spies undercover in NCR territory to wreak havoc among NCR forces. Which brings us to our next point, the Legion spy network known as the Frumentarii. Skilled in assassination, infiltration, and dramatic atrocities to break the spirit of the enemy, the Frumentarii are the Legion's intelligence forces, led by Vulpes Inculta, one of Kaiser's most favoured servants. The Frumentarii are described by Kaiser as mentally flexible, and are able to operate under enemy lines for extended periods, imitating the enemy's customs without becoming sullied themselves. This description, and the threat that they pose, is never more evident than in the Frumentarius Picus, codename Captain Ronald Curtis. Captain Curtis is an NCR commanding officer, having attained the position of commander of Bravo Company by murdering the former commander. Based in Camp McCarran, Curtis uses his position to radio intelligence to Legion and affiliated forces.
Lupa, this is Frumentarii Picus. Over.
Go ahead, Picus.
Afternoon patrol enters Fiend territory at 1300. Have them mind that stretch.
10-4, Picus. Fiends will be alerted.
Roger, Lupa.
What's the status of your primary mission, Picus?
Charges are set. Detonation will occur as the train leaves the station. Over.
How long?
Couple of minutes. Over.
10-4. Keep us updated.
10-4.
Curtis has ironically been tasked by his superiors to discover the source of said leaks. Not content with simply providing intelligence, Curtis has crafted a plan to destroy the monorail that links Camp McCarran to the Strip, depriving the NCR of their ability to reinforce their forces in New Vegas. In-game, the player character can either assist with the sabotage or be recruited by the NCR to find the culprit and stop the explosion. The NCR emergency radio confirms that the monorail was destroyed in all playthroughs, that the Courier did not actively stop the bomb threat. The role the Frumentarii are able to play in combating the NCR and the Mojave is devastating, and the Republic has no real response to the threat that they pose. The only in-game response they have is the Courier's intervention. The Frumentarii had already scored multiple victories against the NCR, decimating Camp Searchlight, Nelson, and Nipton, and will continue to do so if left unchecked. 3 out of 4 playthroughs, they are able to assassinate the president of the NCR, Aaron Kimball, if unable to be stopped by the Courier. Due to these actions, the morale of the NCR forces is at an all-time low, largely thanks to the Frumentarii. Kaiser surmises the Frumentarii's effect on the Republic troops as such.
It'll frighten them. If I can reach out and kill whomever I choose, then they know the only reason they're alive is I haven't tried yet.
By the year 2281, the NCR army is considered the largest military force in the Wasteland, with various divisions ranging from power armor heavy troopers to black-clad veteran rangers, decked out with the finest weaponry manufactured in the Republic. In the Mojave campaign, however, such soldiers are considered with almost mythical status, basically because they're not there. The Mojave campaign is championed by its troopers, everyday men and women who are sent away to protect a distant land that is happy to bleed them dry of caps and of their life.
We're out of food, we're out of men, and we're out of time. The Legion is right outside waiting to kill us all. Today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. We're all going to die here.
There's no way. We're miles from the Colorado. They aren't even waiting for the dam to fall. They're already inside the borders. We'll never stop them. Not at this rate. We're doomed. It's no picnic, I'll tell you that much. My troops are out here every day dying for the NCR, but they've left us out to dry. We have no men or supplies, and we're stretched too thin trying to guard the entire river.
It's never gonna end. This fight with Caesar. People back home don't know what these young men and women are in for. The Legion is the worst enemy we've ever faced. But we can't stop Caesar here. Not without getting a lot of good people killed. More than anyone cares to count up. But even if we do stop him, I don't see how we're ever going to be able to pull out. We're fighting on their behalf, but Mr. House and the families are stringing us up inch by inch. They'll drain us dry while we fight and die over this dam. We offered them sanctuary in NCR territory before, but they won't listen. Troopers and rangers have been dying here for more than 5 years while the families sit pretty behind that damn wall. People back home don't listen. They don't care. Senators, Brahmin barons, folks who are just trying to make it from day to day. It's been so many years that people forget about it. Conscription brings in fresh troops to die here every month, like it's routine. And even if we hold this dam, what then? Are we gonna send the NCR's men and women to die here for another 5 years? 10? Patrol the whole length of the Colorado for hundreds of miles? Holding this dam. It'll be the death of it. Maybe 50 Rangers will die on that dam. We lose over 1,000 troopers every year. Being here is crazy. Getting out's the only sane thing to do.
One of the most confronting aspects of interacting with the NCR military is the immense disillusion and lack of morale in the Mojave campaign. From enlisted troopers to the literal architect of the victory of the last Battle of Hoover Dam, many members of the NCR are questioning why they are even fighting in the Mojave. In sharp contrast, idle comments from lowly legionary recruits to their centurions indicate an immense willingness and plain excitement on the upcoming second Battle of Hoover Dam. In-game, the Courier has the opportunity to turn the tides in the NCR's favour and raise their morale. They can provide support to the Bitter Springs refugee camp, conquer Cottonwood Cove, solve the issues at Camp Fallen Hope, avenge the defeat at Nelson, and even channel their inner Gordon Ramsay to improve the food at Camp McCarran. Without the Courier, Bitter Springs continues to lose troops and refugees to hunger, illness, and potshots from a disgruntled Grey Khan. Cottonwood Cove remains a slave hub. Camp Fallen Hope is confirmed in NCR emergency radio to fall to the Legion, and worst of all, Camp McCarran is stuck eating corns and beans, although the monorail explosion and fiend attack would cause this to be the least of their worries.
The profligates' morale is in the shitter. They've occupied the Mojave for years, getting picked off one by one. They were told it'd be easy. They keep being told that victory is right around the corner, that Vegas will roll over, become the sixth state of their little union.
Speaking of Kaiser, I want to slightly deviate from the main factors to a point I feel might be raised in the comments. Kaiser's health without Courier Intervention. In a Legion playthrough, Kaiser falls comatose due to a brain tumour, and the Courier is required to treat him. His illness is confirmed even in non-Legion playthroughs, if interrogating the captured Centurion, Celus.
Kaisar's losing it. I believe that. He's been shutting himself in his tent. Privately, he complains of headaches. Whatever it is, it's affecting his ability to lead.
It could be argued that without Courier Intervention, Kaiser will die, and the Legion is doomed. However, I would disagree on 2 points. 1. If Kaiser is to die, the assault on Hoover Dam goes ahead as planned.
In my calculations, his death will affect the shape of the battle for Hoover Dam minimally, if at all. The Legion's aggression will outlive Caesar. Indeed, they'll try to take the dam as a tribute to his memory.
2. In non-Legion playthroughs, Kaiser is stated to be alive and coordinating the attack on Hoover Dam. It could be argued that even in this playthrough, he may be comatose or dead, and the Legion just prefers not to confirm this, but regardless, it has no actual effect on the Battle of Hoover Dam itself. In 2271, the Legion launched an assault on Hoover Dam, beginning what was known as the First Battle of Hoover Dam. Led by the former legatus Joshua Graham, the Legion forces surprised and swarmed over the NCR forces, leading to a strategic withdrawal to nearby Boulder City. The Legion briefly occupied the dam and pursued the retreating NCR forces, who prioritized sniping their Decanus and Centurion officers, exposing a dangerous link in the chain of command. Joshua Graham, being neither a brilliant strategist nor a tactically flexible general, ordered his most elite forces to the front in order to engage the Rangers and troopers stationed in Boulder City. The NCR had set up a trap, however, packing the buildings with explosives and detonated their charges once the most experienced Legion troops filled the streets. The Legion were decimated, their most senior warriors dead or disorientated, and were quickly routed from the dam, securing the NCR's victory. Chief Hanlon was credited with the victory of Hoover Dam, something that General Lee Oliver, the commander of the NCR forces, is unable to come to terms with. Hanlon is a veteran strategist who extensively researched his enemy and flipped their tactics against them, and is greatly admired throughout the Republic. General Oliver is not.
General Oliver's strategy, or tunnel vision, as I like to call it, has been to mass troops at Hoover Dam. He wants to outfight the Legion in a straightforward slugging match, and then, when they rout, pursue and destroy them in detail. A crushing, decisive victory of this sort would overshadow the tactical ingenuity of Chief Hanlon's defense 4 years ago, you see.
General Oliver is nicknamed by his own soldiers as General Wait and See, and is described as a tactically inept career soldier, interested only in furthering his own agenda and ego. He ignores Hanlon's advice out of jealousy, originally disregarding Hanlon's recommendation to pursue the Legion after the First Battle of Hoover Dam, and refuses to listen to Hanlon's recommendations for the second battle. The Legion commanders, such as Legatus Linnaeus, even express concern that they are facing Oliver rather than Hanlon, not out of fear, but out of disappointment.
Their leaders have on occasion shown brilliance. Their rangers in particular have adapted well to our strategies. But their rangers are few, and this General Oliver we face is not their best. I regret not being able to face Hanlon. The one who led them last time.
And here lies the issue. The Legion has used the past 4 years to prepare for the Battle of Hoover Dam, conquering tribes, acquiring allies, and formulating new tactics to counter their foe. The NCR has not. Kimball and Oliver underestimate Kaiser and Linnaeus as savages lacking any strategic or critical thought, simply expecting them to repeat their previous battle plan. As such, they don't prepare any new tactics to combat the Legion's strengths, barring running drills for soldiers for close combat that also include just throwing their weapons over the side of the dam if they get wounded. Oliver expects to mass troops at the dam and destroy the Legion by attrition, drowning them in a hail of fire, bullets, and ordnance. The Legion has other ideas.
In the past, the NCR has relied upon attrition, withering our numbers with ranged fire and falling back as necessary. Not this time. The dam contains tunnels to its heart, overlooked by the NCR, now occupied by the Legion. When the battle begins, the NCR will find our teeth at their throats in a dozen places. There will be no attrition, no falling back, only carnage.
The Legion assault the dam in a standard frontal assault on the top side, while simultaneously leading their forces through the dam's intake tunnels. This two-pronged attack has a dramatic effect on the NCR forces stationed at the dam, and immediately negates one of their key advantages, killing from a distance. In-game, the Courier can tip the odds in the NCR's favour, rallying the Brotherhood, Enclave, Boomers, and Great Khans to fight against the Legion at the dam. They can redirect the water in the intake towers, countering the Legion's advance and turning them into literal mincemeat. They can also end the battle in combat against Legatus Linnaeus, or encourage him to retreat via different barter or speech options. Without the Courier, the NCR is in a precarious position. The map seen here is an outline of the Mojave at the beginning of the second Battle of Hoover Dam, and will detail a play-by-play of events without the Courier's intervention to any of the main factions. Kaiser's Legion and their auxiliaries such as Great Khans and the Emertas are visible in red, NCR in green, the Strip in yellow, Brotherhood in blue, and the Fiends in purple. For the purpose of the map, I've indicated areas that were counted as military bases, and disregarded other areas that factions may control but don't have a build-up of soldiers within them. Once the Legion launches their attack on the dam, this would start a chain reaction of events across the whole Mojave. The Legion simultaneously assault Camp Fallen Hope, which is confirmed on NCR radio as falling without Courier intervention. Meanwhile, the Brotherhood, still intact due to not being massacred, take advantage of the chaos and seek revenge at Helios 1 for the loss of their brothers. The Legion also attack Camp Gulf, maiming and killing many of their rangers, but are confirmed as being unable to take the camp itself. Reinforcements from Camp McCarran are unable to assist their beleaguered bases due to fending off a large-scale attack from the undiminished Fiends, with heavy losses confirmed for the NCR. As previously mentioned, the Emertas stage a coup on the Strip, occupying the Chairman, White Gloves, and Securitrons, while riots in Westside, Freeside, and North Vegas deviate further resources from the combating forces. The Emertas are confirmed to fail in their attack against House's troops, who would then move his forces against the rioters threatening Vegas. Something important to note is that without the Platinum Chip upgrades, House's Securitrons are much less of a threat. They stated in a non-upgraded Yes Men playthrough that they were hard-pressed to keep order in the streets. Dialogue with House indicates that even with the upgrades, the Securitrons number less than 1,000. This number would be far lower still without the activation of the Securitrons at the fort. Despite their losses, the NCR at Camp McCarran and Camp Gulf would set off to reinforce Hoover Dam. Potentially, House may deviate some of his forces to assist, although I doubt he'd have the will and the resources to do so. The Legion would most likely receive fresh reinforcements from their bases at Nelson, Cottonwood Cove, and now Fallen Hope, who will travel up Highway 95 to cut off the arriving NCR forces. While all of this has been happening, the NCR forces at Hoover Dam are being torn limb from limb by Legion forces on top of the dam and beneath it. Oliver's battle formations are in shambles, and the general is forced to entrench himself in the lower levels of the dam. His troopers, demoralized or dead, would fall back, leading Hanlon's rangers to cover their retreat before falling to a tide of legionaries. Oliver's heavy troopers would most likely deal the most damage to the Legion. However, they are located only in the eastern side of the dam. The NCR at Hoover Dam would be unable to receive reinforcements due to the previously mentioned skirmishes, as well as a confirmed blockage of the only road into Hoover Dam. Their garrison would be whittled away by attrition against the unending sea of legionaries pouring in from the only road from the east, culminating with Oliver's head most likely being removed from his torso. The NCR would still have holdouts across the Mojave, but these locations would be unable to be reinforced by fresh troops from California, as the only road from the Mojave outpost leads straight into Legion-occupied territory. With General Oliver and Colonel Moore being eliminated, command would pass to Chief Hanlon and Colonel Shue, assuming they had not fallen in the attacks on Camp Gulf and Camp McCarran. Both are considered to be competent officers, and would be unwilling to throw away lives for nothing. With Hanlon's opinion on the Mojave campaign vindicated, the priority would be to evacuate NCR troops and civilians from the region entirely. The NCR Senate and general public would also back this proposal, seeing the Mojave campaign as a waste of lives, time, and money. Evacuation itself may be difficult, as each of the paths out of the Mojave would have their own obstacles. To the southwest, the Long 15 is filled with Deathclaws at Quarry Junction and Powder Gangers from the correctional facility. To the northwest, the roads lead past the skin-flaying storms of the Divide and the radioactive waste spilling out of the Yucca Mountains. Highway 95 would be the only other road available, but would be extremely susceptible to Legion ambushes now that the four main bases of the western bank of the Colorado River would be firmly in Legion hands. No matter the route, the NCR's retreat from the Mojave would not be bloodless, and would solidify the mindset that the Mojave campaign was a lost cause, leaving the area to the Legion and to House. With the balance of power tipped following the NCR's retreat from the region, House and the now two families would find themselves isolated and vulnerable. Their forces would still be considerable, as the Amandas were confirmed as being handled with minimum casualties, and the riots around Vegas would have been dealt with. As they are, however, and with the NCR's withdrawal from the region, their forces would not be enough to stop the Legion. It may not happen immediately. The Legion may understand that assaulting the Strip will be an arduous undertaking, and may seek to pacify the Mojave of the NCR and other hostile factions before committing to this. Kaiser is a man who loves symbolism, and he may leave conquering the Strip itself to the very last, viewing it as a fitting climax to the claiming of the Mojave. The Legion's interest in the Mojave extends beyond the practical benefits of occupying Hoover Dam and the area itself. Kaiser sees New Vegas as a city worthy of becoming the Legion's capital, a new Rome, per se. The assault on the Strip itself would be purely speculative, as there would be little in-game examples to base this off. It is doubtful that House would extend resources to the area surrounding Vegas. It would most likely set up a vigorous defense at the gates of the Strip itself. His Securitron numbers would be fairly low, numbering at most in the lower hundreds, and it is unknown if he has the ability to produce more. He has also stated previously that the NCR army, consisting of far fewer soldiers when it had first arrived at Mojave, would be enough to conquer the Strip. This would lead credence to the fact that the Legion, closer in size and willing to use advanced weaponry, such as zap gloves, anti-material rifles, and howitzers, would also be enough to take the Strip itself. Kaiser is described in a Legion victory as entering the Strip as if it was his triumph. The NCR are pushed out of the region altogether, all the way to the Mojave outpost. The Legion occupies and establishes control over all major locations of the Mojave, while enslaving much of the population and peacefully lording over the rest. The Legion finally brought civilization to the Mojave, unforgiving as it was. Meanwhile, a lone shallow grave overlooks the Wasteland. In it, a Mojave Express courier, known only as Courier 6, a sad casualty of the brutal politics that enveloped the region. A person who could have influenced the outcome of the Battle of Hoover Dam. A person who could have shaped New Vegas as they saw fit. A person who in this instance never realized the game was rigged from the start.